You know him, you love him, you want some more of him. The Voiceover Doctor, a real smooth talker. The Voiceover Doctor Show.
Okay, welcome everybody to the Voiceover Doctor Show. My name is Bill Holmes. I am the Voiceover Doctor. And with me here today is this very handsome gentleman, Mr. Tom Lawless. Tom is are you the head agent? You're the president of?
I'm the president of VOX, we can technically say.
He is the president of VOX, Inc., a talent agency here in Los Angeles. You actually represent me.
That's correct.
I mean, you knew that, right?
I did.
Okay,
I looked over the list before I came.
Well,
Sorry.
thank God he knows, because I don't get a lot of calls. Okay, so I just want to thank you for being on the show.
Absolutely,
I know
pleasure.
You're a very busy man.
Right, of
You're
course.
very busy. And how long have you been president of VOX Agency?
Probably been president for a couple of years now.
And you started there at what?
I started there actually when it was a company called TGI.
Oh my
in the
God!
voiceover
You were back
department,
there
so
as
I
far as
was.
TGI.
Absolutely.
Holy
Back in April of 1999 is when I officially started with the company.
TGI was my first agent when I came to LA in
I thought you looked familiar.
1986.
Yeah.
No, 86. Yeah. You know, back when I had a career. All right. So, all right. Listen, before we start the show,
Yes.
we usually have a bit of a beverage. Are you a little thirsty?
I could always use a
Can I
beverage.
get you a little something?
That'd be fantastic.
Okay. Oh, margarita. Could you come in here, please? Oh, this is Margarita.
Oh, wow.
Say hello. Say hello to Margarita.
Hello. How are you?
Hello, Margarita. Oh, thank you, dear. Thank you. Thank you.
Ta-ta, boys.
Ta-ta.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Ta-ta, Margarita. There we go.
Well, thank you. This is great.
Yeah. Now, you can take her home.
Okay, fantastic.
If you'd like.
Even better.
Okay, so-
It's a better show than I anticipated.
It's kind of one of the perks of the show.
Fantastic.
That not only do you get a margarita, you actually get a margarita. Okay?
You're always thinking.
I'm trying. I'm just trying to.
An innovator.
I call this my sizzle reel. I'm hoping that was enough sizzle for everybody. Okay, so this show is somewhat informative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people like to tune in. I think we're up to 9.
Wow.
Now, yeah.
It is almost double digits.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, we haven't made double digits yet.
Hopefully today I can push it over the top.
But I like to get a little background
Sure.
of the people who come on the show. So before you were an agent, you started agenting when now?
I started agenting literally probably in end of 2000, 2001.
Oh, okay, all right. So what did you do just before agenting?
I was an assistant. I mean, honestly, this was my first real job out of school.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Villanova,
Villanova.
which is right outside of Philadelphia, back east.
Okay.
Grew up back east.
Basketball.
Absolutely.
Villanova is a
Tough
great
year
basketball
this year,
team.
but
Yeah?
we'll be back. We'll be back.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, so I was, grew up back east, went to school
Mm-hmm.
there, and then moved out here with a buddy of mine when I graduated because I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I had majored in finance and wasn't really ready to just go on Wall Street.
So
and grab a
you
job.
know things about finance.
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to make notes for just my career.
For yourself,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, Tom, actually, he is my agent, and he's the best agent in town.
That's on camera. You're saying that.
But I do want to know that he knows a lot about finance because I got some questions to ask after the show. Okay, so really you started out as an agent's assistant at TGI.
That's correct. I mean, I had come and was here for a couple months in California and wasn't quite ready to leave yet, but I was also running out of some money, so I figured it was time to get a job.
Yeah.
And so ended up.
No, wait. What were you doing in California before you were working?
Well, I wanted to do something after I graduated, either travel abroad or travel cross country. And I was talking to a buddy I went to high school with, and he actually had a job lined up in Los Angeles, not in entertainment, but just a job lined up, and he was planning to drive cross country when he graduated. He had an extra semester to go before than I did. So I basically decided to get a job near my family just to save a little bit of money while he finished graduating, and then the two of us drove out together and took our time and had a blast in the trip out there, and then I figured I'd be here for a few months and
Just stop
probably
in
just head
Vegas?
back home. Stopped in Vegas. It was my first time.
Did you do
in
well?
Vegas? I well,
Did you win? I mean, you're a
didn't-
finance guy.
I did.
You just graduated.
I'm not much of a gambler,
finance.
though.
No?
No, that's not my strength.
Really?
But I didn't lose a ton, which was a minor victory in my book.
I like hearing that you're not a gambler because you're my agent. So
Exactly.
you're not gambling with my career or my money.
I wouldn't dream
That's
of
what
it.
I like to hear. So you started out as an assistant, and then when did you make the jump to being an agent? I mean, did you go from I'm an assistant to the other agents, and now I'm president of the company?
It wasn't quite that quick, but it was, I would say, quicker than usual, just
Yeah.
given the circumstances I was in, because I was an assistant, to the president of our department in the
Okay.
voiceover.
Is that Wes?
It was Wes,
Okay, all right.
exactly. And so
Wes Craven. Wes Craven runs VOX.
Little known fact, yeah.
Guy who makes a horror film.
And so I was his assistant, and there was obviously a couple other agents in the department, as well as another assistant who assisted them. And basically, the way it worked out was about 3 months into the job for me, the two of them quit on the same day. Mm-hmm. And so I think everybody was caught a little off guard, and
Yeah.
they weren't exactly ready to bring in, new agents necessarily. And so I kind of got thrown into the fire a little bit more so than
Nice.
I would have been
Yeah.
normally. And so it just kind of accelerated the process. And obviously it wasn't the way everybody drew it up, but ended up learning a lot quickly just because I had to. And so about a year in, I was promoted to an agent and kind of went from there.
So now, you went into the world of finance and everything. Yeah, that's what you went to school for.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that being an agent is you're using those skills?
There certainly are some similar skills. Certainly in, finance itself is kind of its own being, but at the same time, Wes and myself both were business majors in school, and I do think having that business background has helped us in kind of the way we've built the business and gone about it. Because I know, and a lot of agents are, great at what they do in other ways, but a lot of them I know have more of an artistic background and then kind of had kind of moved into that sense, and that was never my area. I was definitely
Right.
more of that kind of business mind, and I enjoyed the arts and I appreciate it. But
And
that
what
wasn't
is
my
your
background.
number one goal for the agency? You
I
told
mean,
me once.
Well, do I have to repeat it? What if
Yeah,
I
I'd
changed it?
I'd like to hear it. Well, maybe it's different. It's like get rid of Bill
That's
Holmes
I was
could
gonna
be
say,
the
I mean, that
number one
that
goal. I don't
literally
know.
changes on a weekly basis. But I mean, for us, it's always been just to be the best agent in town, or best
The number
agency in
one
town.
agency in
and that doesn't necessarily mean the biggest always, but
but
I
the
just want to
best-
be known as the best.
Because you signed the best talent.
Exactly.
Okay.
We're well on our way here.
Well, I'm trying real hard. Okay. So, that kind of covers the background. Now, I just have a couple of things. We're going to take a little break here and do a commercial. But do you actually enjoy being a redhead?
I do.
Do
But
you?
it took a while.
How long have you had red hair?
I've had red hair my whole life, believe
Really?
it or not. It wasn't just something that sprouted on me
Okay.
at one point.
So do people call you a ginger snap?
I have not heard that one
No?
particularly. No, growing up.
I think I will call you a ginger snap.
Oh, please do.
Hello there, ginger snap.
I
got
do hear a
like
few things over the years, but
See,
I
and plus
suppose it's,
I was doing a little voice for you.
it
too.
was a little like a mini audition.
Maybe
there.
that could be on my cartoon. Hello there, Ginger Snap. I'll put that on my demo. Okay. Now, Jeff Jones. Do you know who Jeff Jones
I
is?
met him once or twice.
He's
yeah.
a very tall
Very
man.
tall, yes.
What's it like working with Jeff Jones?
Well, I don't like working
Because
with
he's
somebody
been
that
on the
much
show.
taller than me. It is
Really?
frustrating when you're walking in and trying to have a conversation and you
Yeah.
have to look up a foot
Yeah.
to get to him. It's,
Jeff, my son Kyle, whom you represent, Jeff went to a poker tournament last night. It was a fundraiser.
Interesting.
For Kyle is also a baseball coach and he runs a baseball team. And Jeff showed up. I don't remember seeing you there.
no, I don't think I did make that.
Thanks
there.
for the support.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'm here
And-
today, though, aren't I not?
Now, yeah, you are. I got to go with that one. He is here.
I had to rest up and get ready for this.
This didn't
massive
cost
moment.
him anything, He's getting dinner out of this too, and he gets to go home with Margarita. Yeah, tough decision.
Not a big deal.
Okay, the funny thing I got to say this is that Jeff Jones. He's 6'10", 6'8", 6'8". He and a little person were the finalists.
Really?
Jeff wound up winning. Again, my agent won a poker tournament. I love shit like that, okay? but it was like this guy and Jeff were at the final table, and it was just
the sight,
lovely.
I would imagine.
It would have been so good to have you there.
So I could have done
Just
the middle ground of
give
all
some
that, or-
money.
yeah,
I just
okay.
wanted your money.
Oh,
that's
interesting.
all.
I'm sure I can buy you a jet later.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a little break.
Okay.
And imbibe on some more margarita here.
They're delicious.
And then I'm going to come back at you with Bob Bergen is writing a book, and he has it's a book about questions for agents around the country.
Sure.
So I did this with Jeff. I'd like to do it with you. We're going to ask you agent questions.
Okay.
For our audience to hopefully gleam onto and learn from. So we will be right back after this commercial break, and we'll clink our glasses.
Cheers to that.
It's kind of tradition here. We'll be right back.
Coming this summer, the voiceover doctor consults with the specialists. Maurice LaMarche, Rob Paulson, Jeff Jones, Ike Amati. Voice 2012, June 16th at the Disneyland Resort Hotel. For more information, go to voiceoverdoctor.com.
And we're back. Wasn't that fascinating? I have no idea what the commercial was. Okay. All right, so we're going to get into our... this is almost kind of like the actor studio.
Okay.
You know, because he asked that list of questions at the end. Who's the guy who does the actor studio?
Right, what is his
Who's
name?
that guy? What's his
Will
name?
Ferrell makes fun of him. That's
Will
what,
Ferrell.
Lipton, I think,
Will
James
Ferrell.
Lipton, is that-
When Will Ferrell asks all those questions, I'm going to ask you these questions, and every agent I have on the show. I just want to let you know I am talking to other agents.
Interesting.
And it's
a pass-fail, or how does this work?
It is a pass-fail.
Okay.
Wes Stevens is his real name. I just wanted Wes to know. I know who the hell you are, Wes. And we'd love to have you on the show. But you own the company. You're too big for me. Okay, here we go. So let me ask you this.
Yes.
How many demos do you get in a week?
I would say probably between 15 to 25.
15 to 25 demos. Do you normally get them on like CDs
Right.
or
it's happening
email?
more and more now that it's email. I think it used to be heavily CDs, but I think people are starting to realize that that's probably not the best way to go about things.
Which do you prefer?
I prefer email.
And why is that?
Because CDs, I don't know, they pile up, they get in your way. This and that, email, it's a click, and you can be listening rather than take the CD out. It sounds silly, but those extra 10, 15 seconds can just, sometimes it's even just opening the package.
Yeah.
Like it's too tight. I'm like, I don't need to listen to this. I'm throwing it away. So,
Really?
Oh yeah.
You would just throw it away because it's difficult to get into.
Absolutely.
Because
Because well,
Time
first
is
of all,
money?
time is money, and also there's a good, just judging from history, there's a really good chance I won't need it. It won't be very good, and so you've already wasted my time. The fact that you've extra super glued this thing together, and I don't really want to be a part. I really want to represent you. I know that already.
you super glued it together. All right, so that's very good advice.
Yeah, email's usually the way.
You don't want to piss the agent off before they even listen to the demo. Do you listen to all the demos? No. I'm guessing you don't,
No,
from
I don't.
what you just said.
The majority of the demos I listen to are through referrals, through either clients like yourself or other managers or theatrical agents who I know and respect.
And even that's not really a guarantee.
Not at all.
Because I know I've sent a few people to you, and you're like, no,
Absolutely.
we have that, or we don't need that, or
Exactly. It's always appreciated when
we're not that happy with you, Bill. So why would we listen?
You
to
really
you?
want your competition here? No.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, there, it really isn't necessarily. But the good news is it is a guarantee to at least get listened to for a little bit, because most of the stuff that's unsolicited, sometimes we'll have some of the assistants take a listen to see if there's something there, but a lot of times they don't even have time for that. So a lot of the times, if it's unsolicited, it's not going to get listened to.
Okay. All right. Okay. What is it on a demo that catches your attention?
Well, a lot of it, sometimes it's always scary to hear this as an actor too, but it depends on where I'm at with my client list in the moment. I mean, sometimes I'll hear something and go, wow, I need that on my list, and first and foremost, it's just something where you can hear something instantly and it sounds like a bookable read. And that is in and of itself, you just kind of hear it or you don't. And so, and for most of the time, you're not listening to demos for much longer than 5 to 10 seconds unless there's something there that you like and you want to continue and hear on.
So first and foremost, you're listening for do we not have this in our stable of actors?
Right.
And then maybe you'll listen to more.
If
But
there's
if you
something there.
but if you listen to a voice and go, we've already got that, you don't want to piss off your clients that you
Exactly.
already have.
Unless you hear something, you go, that's just fantastic.
Yeah.
Even if it's, obviously you don't want to be throwing away talent that, you may have some of, but it's just, there's something about it that is just incredibly breaks through that you haven't heard.
Well, that
in a while.
makes me wonder. I mean, what do you feel is? Oh my God, that's fantastic! Because as a guy who makes demos,
Right.
we try to make them. I mean, what I usually advise clients is, look, just let it be who you are, and if they happen to need that, then it'll be interesting.
And I think that's the right approach too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's certain, like I said, sometimes it's tough to say, like, when I hear it, I'll hear it, but there is sometimes those moments where you just hear something, and maybe it's even been watching TV and hearing a certain sound going, and all of a sudden that sound comes through on a demo, and you're like, wow, this is a sound that's hot right now.
And we don't have that.
Exactly, and
Right.
so we don't certainly have enough of it, and let's investigate further and maybe get this person in. So, that's kind of part of it, and part of it can truly just be a crapshoot in the moment. And I do agree with your assessment to it, is that, and I think if somebody's trying to do something where they're pleasing somebody else,
Right.
like, I think this is hot in the moment, this is what I'm going to try to do, it doesn't work, because if it's not natural, if it's not their sound, it's not going to come through anyway.
Okay, cool. So when somebody's making a demo, you probably don't recommend it. It's like, oh, he's a ginger snap, right? Oh,
I wouldn't lead with that, no.
You wouldn't lead with that
No,
one?
that
No?
wouldn't be my first.
But again, I have a lot of people come to me and go, I do these dead-on British dialects, and I love doing characters and stuff like that. So distinguish real quickly. I don't know if this is on the list or not, but distinguish real quickly for me. What you want to hear, since you're a commercial agent and you primarily do the commercial and animation stuff.
Right.
What is the difference? What do you want to hear on a commercial demo as opposed to, say, a character or an animation demo?
Right. I mean,
Do you want them to mix it up on a commercial demo?
and again, I think commercially probably not as much, unless that's your true
Your thing.
signature. Exactly. Where
But unless you're somebody who kind of sounds already like a cartoon.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly. And then kind of play around with that a little bit. I do think it gets dangerous when, I think it's important to kind of have a through line, and I think that goes back to your point,
Yeah.
where saying keep to yourself a little bit more. I know there's a lot of people who, especially a few years ago, everybody wanted, I'll give them a car spot here, but then a wacky spot here, but then this spot here, and it's like, that's not what you want to put forth for the most part in your demos,
Because agents look at that and go, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what you...
there's so many people doing this nowadays
Yeah.
that, and it's people all over the country now. It's obviously
Right.
not just LA, Chicago, and New York anymore. So with that in mind, you want to be able to put something, it's that dangerous, spot, because not actors don't want to be put in a category per se, and I understand that certainly as an agent, but given the realities of the situation is, the way you're going to make it commercially, the way you're going to make it consistently commercially is to become kind of a certain signature sound. I mean, the people that are working consistently aren't doing 10 different styles and 10 different commercials. They're doing a similar style that people say, I need that read. And they think of that person sometimes even when they're writing the copy. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you want to get to. That's the point you want to get to.
Yeah.
You don't want to get to the point where they go, I don't know who this person is. They keep doing a voice here, voice here, voice here. It's not going to book consistently. You may grab a radio spot here or there, but you're not going to be booking campaigns on a consistent basis.
So figure out what you do, what you are,
Exactly.
just who you are, and do that, because these days they just want natural.
I mean, that's the thing.
real people.
Natural, non-announcer.
Oh, we don't
is
want actors.
85%.
Don't send actors
Granted,
to
at the
us.
same time, a lot of times you know stuff and you're like, that sounds more announcery than they were asking for.
Yeah, but,
you know,
but again, are they really going to hire somebody from off the street?
right.
So I don't know. Okay, next question here. Will you only represent union actors?
Only represent actors that are willing to join the unions, just because that's the majority of what we do. I don't mind representing somebody who's not a member of the union yet. It gets to a point, since we will only pretty much work on union projects, when you're casting something and then all of a sudden you get somebody booked on it and they go, well, I'm not a member of the union, and you go, well, okay, we're going to need to be for this spot, and then they go, well, the dues are more than I'm going to make on it. It's like I can't. job's
okay.
too difficult to be able to be thinking about those type of things when
Right.
you're going about the casting process or pitching and this and that. It's just you need to be ready to go. Like I said, it doesn't matter to me if you're.
Well, you
not
need to
a
be
member at the
willing to
moment.
invest in your career.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, it seems like a simple thing.
and have enough confidence to go.
I'm going to get more
Well,
of these.
I'm going to get more because I have the best agent in town.
How could I fail?
How could anybody fail? Nobody can fail when they're at VOX Inc. Okay. Should an actor follow up with you after submitting a demo and stuff like that? I mean, what's
If it's
your...
if it's a blind submission, again, honestly, if it's a blind submission, it's not going to get heard. So the following up part, we've had it before where there's that fine line, and it's tough to describe. Where most of the time the follow up ends up being at a point where it just annoys us, and that gets thrust into the trash pretty quickly.
That's a little confusing for me because
Talk to
I
me.
always annoy you.
Well, that's true.
But
that,
I'm
luckily
still
you're
with
already
you.
here.
I'm still with the agency.
Well, you have to
so,
provide
So
a
you're giving me
certain-
a mixed message here.
Yeah, but you have to provide a certain level of, when you're not a client of mine.
Yeah.
And you don't, you provide me nothing at this point.
Right.
Right.
I
So-
personally?
Not you.
No, the person coming
the
in.
said actor
Okay.
that may be submitting something.
Again, you're
and when you
confusing me.
keep going, it's like I don't represent you yet, and already you're annoying me.
Right.
What
Okay.
makes you think I want to extend this?
So
relationship?
what would you say is not annoying? What would you say is okay for them to do? Like 2 weeks down the line, just say, "Hey, I was just calling to see if you got my demo, if you had a chance to listen to it."
Absolutely, and honestly, it's probably better with a follow-up email.
An
Because I'm
email?
not going to take the call. If I
Okay.
don't, for the most part.
You're sounding a little snooty right now.
I know I am, and it's just it
Sound a
sounds
little upper crust.
it sounds bad, but at the same time, if realizing just how much goes on, and like if I'm taking that phone call, that's time I'm taking away from pitching you and finding jobs for you, people I represent.
All right,
currently.
everybody, don't be sending Tom
So.
demos, okay? All right, after that, let the man alone.
I think
He's looking for work from me.
That's
God.
the thing. I mean, I think what you do is, you do a
No, I
workshop
totally-
here or
I
there, and
totally
you do
agree
that
with
to
you.
be able to, because you do want to give back and be able to give some, things like this, where you talk to people
Yeah.
that maybe want to know what's going on or how to get into things. But, during the workday, it's not fair. It's not fair to us. It's not, what we're trying to do and create our bottom line. It's not fair to my
Because your
clients.
job really is to find your client's work.
Exactly.
That's really your job, not to go
Right.
discover people
And given,
start new careers
finding
unless you need
talent
them.
is unfortunately not a huge part of, because of, the great relationships we have around town
Mm-hmm.
with the managers, with agents, with the things like that. There's plenty of talent to, really good talent to have to decide from, even when we're going to meet from those clients. And
Right.
so, like I said, breaking through that unknown factor, people all the time say, what do I do to get you my demo? I'm like, meet people, get to know somebody that
So
will
go
get it in front of me.
Go to
that-
like the
that
VOX
works.
on the Rocks and
Exactly.
the Voiceover Jam and the social networking thing
Right.
that one can do.
And I can't stress. I'm going to look into the camera on this.
Look
one.
right into
I
the
can't
camera.
stress this enough. Is that at those type of things as well. It's that a lot of times actors have the habit of walking up and go, "Hey," and immediately talk business.
Yeah.
I would, me personally, that it's always a little bit of a turnoff, and so I think just try to get to know people there.
Yeah.
And if things funny have a way of working down the road where.
Well, I mean that
business
happens
can
with me
happen.
too. When
Absolutely.
people will come to me and go, "I hear you make demos. I hear you teach and stuff," and I'm always like, "You know what? Here's my card. I'm drinking right now.
Right. Let's
and
have fun.
and one, I'm drinking. Two, I'm probably not going to remember you tomorrow. so call me tomorrow.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And by the way, if you
Not
sit
a bad
down
thing to do with an
and have a
agent.
great conversation with somebody for a half hour, non-related, there's a better chance you're going to remember them tomorrow in
Exactly.
a positive light when they do follow up with you on that. So
yeah.
that's
Okay.
just-
No, that's very good advice because we do host a lot of those
Mm-hmm.
things. Bob Bergen hosts them and stuff. So.
Right.
Do you require an actor to have a home studio? Do you require it?
It's not a requirement, and in fact, it's something where a lot of times when we're taking on new clients, we encourage them to come in for at least a little bit because it's important for our booth director to get to know them, for us to get to know them a little bit in that give and take atmosphere. But they do, unless maybe it's a client, something very specific where they are a Russian client and they're not going to have a ton of auditions per se, but the ones that feel
Yeah.
you almost be like, look, you're more than welcome to obviously get a home setup, but I don't require it because I'm not going to be able to give you enough opportunities to make it worth your while.
Now let me ask you this too.
Yep.
And this is something I'm going to touch upon towards the end of the show too. does the home studio, again, I own a studio.
Right.
So obviously my stuff's going to be pretty quality stuff. But for people just starting out, how good does it have to be? You know?
Honestly, it has to be clean. You know,
It just has to be clean.
And that's as simple as it is. You know, there's times
None of
where-
this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while we'll get some stuff like that, and
Yeah.
you go,
Yeah.
like, did you listen to that before you sent it in?
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing, you know, where it's like you just, because it's not, you know, there's a dog barking in the background. There's this, and that. It's like just, I think you get a pretty good idea of what, you know, what's usable and what isn't as far as the audition process goes. And so, and that's it, you know, and it's not
So
something
don't
where we
go
like
spend
to.
$7,000 on a whisper
Absolutely
booth.
not. And we've got a
Just get a
great
quiet
guy
room
that
in
we
your
can,
house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've got a great guy that can kind of help you.
Who's the guy?
His name's Brady Walker.
Brady Walker?
Yep.
Okay.
And he's fantastic at home setups, and he's fantastic about kind of.
Does he have a
having you-
website? We'll give him a plug.
He does. He does.
What's it? Do you know it?
I
or-
don't know it.
You don't know it.
I'm not off the top of my head.
Brady,
If I was at
you
my
hear that?
desk, I would know it. But
You hear that, Brady? He doesn't know it. I was going to give you the plug, Brady, but Tom doesn't know it. Now
We'll add it later.
you know what? We'll try to put it at the end of the show.
Exactly.
Here. Brady Walker.
but yeah, I mean, he's great about, you know, looking at your setup and going, look, this is what I want to spend. This is what I'm thinking, what
Right.
I need, and he can tailor it around. And we've been working, you know, in conjunction with him for a while. That he knows exactly what we expect out of the clients as far as quality.
All right, well,
that
that's
he can
good.
do that without
Because-
breaking the bank.
Honestly, he's not a name I've heard out
Mm-hmm.
there. I know some other people, but I would love to.
And we had, you know, we'd used a couple different folks when we started this process of having most people work from home, and not all of them worked out, you know, and he
Yeah.
kind of fell into our lap, and we've never really had a complaint from a client about him. He's just,
Oh, good.
Yeah, people
And he's
love working
pretty
with him.
reasonable?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll give him a plug at the end of the show.
Correct.
Now, can your actors work in other markets with other agents? Do you mind?
I don't mind. No, I mean it's just the reality of today's situation. You know, where there's going to be things that go on in certain other smaller markets that we may not hear about, and it's far be it for me to tell our clients not to be able to be going out for those type of jobs.
Yeah.
If it doesn't come through our way, and there's, you know, I think we've got a pretty good level where people say, you know, hey, if you're working on this, I'd rather go through you than my local agent, just because there's usually a little bit more clout that comes from an LA agent per se
Right,
than
yeah.
maybe a local or regional agent. And it
Well,
just
I've done
makes
that
more sense.
myself.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly.
I send you things on. Hey, do you guys have this? Because usually I figure if it's a big union job and you know it came out of Milwaukee,
Right.
who doesn't exist anymore, so I can use Milwaukee as the example. You know, usually I would say, do you guys have this? I'd much rather go through you.
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
So that's something you can do. You know, it's really called having a relationship with your agent.
Yeah, exactly.
Because a lot of actors feel, I think, and you can address this too. I think a lot of actors starting out, the ones who are starting out, certainly not me, feel that an agent, like they work for the agent.
Right.
It's like, oh, please hire me, agent. And it's like, no, it's kind of the opposite.
Absolutely.
The agents actually work for you, and you need to establish that working relationship so that a guy like you knows where I'm coming from, which
Exactly.
I've always let you know where I'm
That's
coming
never been a concern, and I appreciate that.
now go find me a fucking job. It's things like that, or you know, and what you expect of us as well.
Exactly.
Which kind of leads me into my next question, I think. Oh yeah, how do you feel about actors checking in with you and you know keeping in touch with you?
Well, again, I think there's that, you know, we don't talk about fine line, but there is. But at the same time, I do think it's important, especially given how we do it and the fact that most of our actors do audition from home. And so there's a lot of time in this voiceover world where there's not a ton of feedback.
Right.
And so it can be a little bit challenging, and I'd rather have an open discussion with a client about how things are going and how the audition process is going and how they're feeling about it and vice versa, rather than kind of them stewing at home and not knowing how, you know, starting to get nervous if they haven't booked, if we are not happy with the reads, if things of that, like, bring it to us, you know, let's have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
You know, and then of course there's always clients that, you know, after every other audition is going, well, what do you think? It's like, that's too much.
You don't have time for
It's too
that.
much. We
Yeah.
just don't have time for it.
Yeah.
So it's that.
Now, this is just my own question.
Yeah.
Do you try to personally listen to the auditions periodically?
Periodically.
To make sure the quality is still there and that know,
Absolutely.
I'm not like a heroin addict all of a sudden.
I mean, the nice part is, our booth director's been with us about 10 years, and so I definitely entrust him.
You guys have a booth director?
Yes, believe it or not.
I know. I knew that.
But I do, we trust him implicitly in the fact that, he knows what's working, what isn't working, and I can talk
really
to him
sucks,
and go,
he's going to call you
right,
up and
exactly, and I can even just openly just kind of look at somebody and go, how's so and so doing? We've had them for a few months, this and that, and like, look, this is where we're at, this is this, so it's nice to be able to have that open.
Okay, that leads me to another question: is say I'm with you, for 6-7 months. Not really booking that much, but I'm consistently sending in good auditions. Is that, I mean, again, actors all the time are asking me, is like, well, after 6 months, if I don't book something, they're going to drop my ass. And I mean, is that something you guys do? Do you clean house?
I mean, we're always looking at the list in a certain sense, but and there's different ways to look at it, and we'll look at it both ways. We'll start with surely monetarily, who's making what, who's doing this, who's not booking. But at the same time,
monetarily, man, I'm in trouble then.
But a lot of the times,
just making my notes,
especially kind of given the way the market is and how many people again are involved, and I don't know, commercials certainly more probably of a crapshoot than it's ever been.
Yeah,
I think it's important to go over and go who's sending in bookable stuff. It doesn't necessarily, a lot of times we'll take people on that, from New York or from wherever, where they're used to having a pretty good career, and they come to LA and it takes a year before they book anything.
Yeah,
and it's not because they're not sending in good stuff. It just, for whatever reason, sometimes for that name recognition to hit the buyers, and if we knew the exact reason, we'd address it. But
well, I mean, these days you're auditioning against 1,000 people.
Exactly, a lot of times
because you got New York, Chicago, LA, now Atlanta, Seattle. All these
it's frightening,
agents,
really,
San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean, I work with a casting director out here occasionally. I do some directing and stuff. And she didn't have time to go through all the auditions. I listened to 1,000 auditions, of which I thought I only sent 300.
Yeah.
Because 700 I thought were worthless. And we'll talk more about this at the end of this interview.
And I do think that's part of it too. And I'm hoping that we're starting to reel back a little bit in the sense that I think, the producers and the creatives are starting to realize just because they can get 1,000 different reads doesn't necessarily mean they should.
Oh,
and so
no,
I think
they really shouldn't.
Yeah,
if there's any producers out there, be particular, would you?
It's just more work for them, and I think they start to realize, look, I've got a handful of agents that I truly trust, and I know they continually send, quality stuff to me, and I know I don't have to send it to 15 different places. I can send it to 5, and then we can start to go from there.
Well, and it's been my just recent experience too that, and I'm guessing you guys don't do this. But let me know if you do. That there are the smaller agents, it feels, in the smaller markets, I mean, because there are no small agents.
Never.
They seem to just, if it says male VO, they send every male actor on the roster, whether they're right for the part or not. I mean,
right.
you guys are much more particular.
Much more particular about kind of how we go about the process. And
because I'll tell the story, and then we'll take another little break. But I remember one time you sent me something that I looked at it and I thought, I am not right for this at all. And I tell this story to my students all the time because it makes sense. It teaches them what a smart agent is, though. And I remember sending you an email saying, do you really expect me to book this? Do you remember this? And you said, no. And I was like, well, that's interesting. He sent me the goddamn thing. Why the hell? So then I said, so what did you expect? He's like, you have an audition for this guy before. I wanted to let him see your name and get to know you and blah, blah, blah. I was new to the roster. And so therefore, you might be right for this other thing he's working on, and I needed him to hear you. Yeah. And I believe I said, that was a great answer. Otherwise, I would have fired you. Because if you had said, yeah, you're right for this, you're going to book it, I'm like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
This guy's lost.
Yeah, exactly. So kudos to you. So look, we're going to take we got a few more questions on the list here. We'll take another commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
The Voiceover Doctor presents margaritas, mojitos, and microphones. At Compost Productions, we bring in the professionals for you to work with and learn from. Get behind the microphone and be directed by the best so that your performance shines. Mingle with these professionals like Rob Paulsen and Maurice LaMarche, and sometimes even the doctor himself. And let one of our talented mixologists serve you a margarita. Come join us at Compost Productions for margaritas, mojitos, and microfones. Viva el voiceover doctor.
Okay, we are back, and we're talking with Tom Lawless here. He's the president and just president?
Yeah,
Or
we'll
president,
just go with
CEO?
that. No,
Okay.
no.
He's the president of VOX Inc. Commercial department, and you do animation as well.
I do animation video
What else?
as well.
But Jeff does all the promo. What does Jerry do?
Jerry does a lot of the celebrity endorsements or helping work in that area, as long as helping out with some of the commercials.
Some of the
and-
commercial stuff too. And then you guys, Jeff told us you have a motion capture.
Exactly.
And that's going well too.
Jeff and I have kind of started a motion capture division, which is, because it's something where we've always done very, very well in the video game market, and obviously that's an area that they're going with. And so it was Jeff's idea, and we've kind of had that building over the last year or two, and it's gone really well. So it's been exciting.
That Jeff, he's a go-getter.
He's an innovator.
Isn't he a go-getter?
Oh, he is.
True
And he's
story.
6'8".
True story. Okay, here we go. What are some, besides me, what are some of your pet peeves? Besides everything I'm doing here today. don't list what we've just gone
I was
through.
going to say, we don't do just what we...
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, probably a little bit of what we talked about. I think, sometimes it's just, I think it's when the actor doesn't realize that, we've always tried to take a little bit of a managerial approach to people's careers, but at the same time we are agents. We
Yeah.
represent a lot of talent. And so when there's clients that I don't really feel understand that there's other talent than them that we represent,
Yeah.
it's that fine line because it's, we do obviously care about everybody on the list, and we're working for everybody on that list. But you have to be respectful of the time and what it takes for that to happen. And so the people that try to monopolize that time a little bit too much, and quite frankly, a lot of times it's the people that aren't making as much money that monopolize more of the time,
Right.
and that
But I mean,
becomes
it's
that fine
it's
line.
kind of a catch-22 because that's probably why they're bugging you. Because like, hey, I'm not making enough money,
Right.
and if I don't
is.
bug you, you're not going to
Right,
blah,
you don't
blah,
think, but I think there's that thing too, a level of trust with the agent and with the client. I think
Right.
it goes both ways. And so, after a while, if it's like, you keep hearing, well, what's going on? Am I going up for everything I need to and do that? And like, if you don't trust me that that's happening, then this probably isn't a great relationship. Exactly. This probably
Yeah.
isn't working. Why don't you go find somebody that you feel will be,
Right.
protecting you at all? If
And
like
most
I
of
said,
those
if it's-
actors then become meth addicts, right?
Funny how
Is
that works.
Well,
I didn't want to say
I
per
just
se,
want
but,
you to know how it's affecting people. That's all. But if you feel good about it, that's fine. No, I totally get it. Now, do you believe in marketing? Do you believe in? I mean, where does that fit into the
Right.
scheme? Of things?
It's one of those things where I think, I don't want to say I believed in it more before, but there again with the numbers that are going on, it's people have a different view on it because of the numbers. They feel
People
like,
meaning who?
people, just anybody in the business,
Okay.
like whether because of the numbers going on, people think, well, I need to create an advantage and get my name out in front of people and this and that. But at the same time, there's things where, if we want to talk about, submissions,
Okay.
from your side, like the blind submissions that I get.
Right.
And I've seen it before where I'll get postcards from people over and over and over.
Right.
Who I don't know. And
Well,
they
well-
always end up in the
Well,
trash.
let's turn it more into I'm already your client. What is it? Should I be out marketing
the reason
myself?
I bring that example up is because I try to put myself in the position of the casting director or the producer, in the sense that if I'm getting blind stuff from somebody over and over that I don't know, I'm throwing it out, and I'm
Right.
kind of assuming they're doing the same thing, and to a point where it starts to get annoying,
Yeah.
where that name recognition comes up with nothing but a negative.
Right.
And so, but there are smart ways to go about things, and the one thing I've always said about marketing is that don't market to market. Market when you have a reason to market.
Okay.
Market when you're, don't market when you have a guest role on CSI. Nobody cares.
Right.
Market when you've got booked a series regular. And so market when you've booked this campaign. Market when, on those truly, worthwhile events where people go, oh, wow, that's interesting. That's a time to get it in front of folks and do that. But to market for the sake of marketing, I for the most part, I think is a waste of money.
Yeah. Okay. Good. fantastic. Because really, it's kind of what they're paying you for.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying you to get their name out
That's
there.
the whole thing, and the whole thing point of me is I'm getting them out there at the moment that person's looking for them.
Right.
That's the one thing about marketing that's tough is that a lot of times you're just throwing it out there and praying that it's that right moment where they may actually be
Right.
looking for you. Obviously for the jobs that we're working on and the reasons that we're pitching is that we're trying to get people in that moment saying you need this person now.
Yeah. I like that answer. Good answer.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we just covered that. What can an actor do in conjunction with their agent to be proactive with their career? I mean, is there something you do approve of?
Well, it's the one thing we always talk about is networking, and that never
Get out there
stops.
and meet people.
Exactly, and that people all the times go, well, how do I network? And you're like, if you don't know how to
Figure it
then
out.
we got some problems. So it is. It's just about getting out there and meeting as many folks as possible, and that goes, like you said, through events, through whatever.
And it's okay to meet folks that are at your same level. Say you're a beginner, meet more people like that because then, sorry, my words with
I left
friends.
mine over here.
It's my words with friends, and I'm expecting Alec Baldwin to come rushing in any second and punch me in the head. Okay, sorry about that. But again, because not only like if you go to something like what Bob Bergen. He does this Vox on the Rocks thing. Go to his website, bobbergen.com. You can find it. And you're meeting people like me and Bob Bergen, and sometimes you're at those events.
Right.
And, along with, though, people who are like you or maybe just above where you're at and stuff like that. So you can get more ideas about classes and who to go to, who not to go to, and so on and
That's
so
the nice
forth.
part too, is a lot of times you meet those type of folks, and then you become friends. Next thing you know, they're telling you, "Hey, so and so's doing this tonight. You want to come along?"
Exactly.
And it just breeds
Yeah.
kind of becoming more entrenched in the society, if you will. I guess.
Yeah. No, good advice. What are some of the common mistakes you see actors make that can sabotage or damage their career? I think we kind of covered
I
a
think
lot
so.
of that.
I think
didn't
we're
we?
kind of
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else?
Not really. As far as no. I mean,
Don't beat baby seals.
right. Like some of the basics. Right.
I mean, because occasionally
don't walk up and punch a producer in the face. And
there's a guy named
call
David
his wife,
Jeremiah.
whatever.
David Jeremiah. He and I will go out and beat baby seals every now and then because it's just kind of fun to do.
Just keep it on the down low, though.
Yeah,
That's all I can
Okay.
say.
I mean, I would never talk about it in public. What style is in these days commercially? You're the commercial guy.
I mean, it's kind of what we talked about before. It's that
The real guy.
real guy kind of
And
feel to it.
that's been it for the last 10 years.
That's been their way for a while. I mean, we did have a little movement after 9/11 where we went back to a little bit of that grandfatherly, secure, staunch, maybe even announcery a little bit, just to kind of because the nation needed that a little bit.
Right.
But you're right. Probably the last 6 or 7 years, it can stay consistently.
It
around
almost seems, I think, because of reality television, it almost seems like they're almost overdoing it now. With, they just want to put real people
I don't think there's any question
in everything.
Right.
So if you can just
And
sound
it's
regular and
it's
real,
important. It feels as though one of the main things in advertising is they want to make sure that there doesn't appear as though they're trying to sell.
Right.
And so that's where that kind of real everyday guy, hey, just did it. It's not a hard sell. It's not something. That's something.
here's
that
the
seems like every
information.
advertiser's
If you
trying
want to come
avoid.
along for the ride, come
Right.
along for the
People
ride.
don't wanna be
Otherwise,
pushed.
get the hell out of my face. Okay. Why is Tim Allen still doing commercials? Why? He hasn't made enough money. That just
sorry,
came
was that
out.
an aside,
No,
or- okay,
it just came out. It hit me. He's very real. Okay, when you pass on an actor due to conflicts, is that usually true or just a line? Like we already have somebody like you. Stay the hell out of my face.
Most of the time for us, it's true. I'd be lying if I said I've never used it as a line because it is. Because a lot of times it is true, and so it's just we try to be pretty upfront with people. If I don't know them that well, this and that, if it's not to me tremendously
you wanna be
beneficial to be
polite.
it, right?
Yeah.
You'll throw it out there from time to time. For the most part, I mean it, and
Now, I'm curious. Have you ever just said to somebody, "Get the hell out of the business"?
I have.
You're horrible.
I have said that the demos aren't very good. At times.
That's it.
Yeah, that's about where I'll leave it. That's about it. I don't, I'm not about ripping people's hearts out, but at the same time, there are times where you have to go, this isn't quality.
Well,
This
because
isn't
I
good enough."
think all actors at one time think an agent's going to look at them and go, "You suck. Get out of the business." Because
We probably should do that more.
well,
but,
many people have said that to me early on my career, and I'm making a living. So what the hell?
See, what do they know?
Okay, now, if you pass on an actor, should they resubmit in the future? And if so, how long should they wait?
I would usually, I don't think it's a bad idea to resubmit, especially if because there'll be times where I'll say, the demo's good. I can't, it doesn't make sense for us to do anything right now. But resubmit at some point. And I do mean that. I won't say that unless I mean it. And I usually mean probably at least a year.
Oh,
just to
about a
let
year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, you're kind of assuming at that point, given if you've liked the demo, look, they're probably going to find somebody that goes well. But at the same time, if they're not that happy with what's going on there, let's maybe
You might be able to steal them away.
steal.
Yeah.
They're reaching out.
How
if
often
they
do you
wanna reach
how
out.
often do you steal other?
We don't steal.
You don't steal ever? Never. You've never called somebody up and said, Bob, we could, Don LaFontaine, we could do something.
No,
here."
I don't. And I think the reason, I don't think most. There's one or two out there that may.
I think you're
but,
taking this way too seriously.
but
right now.
yeah, right.
This
No, but
answer.
I do think that there are. I think your reputation kind of speaks for
Yeah.
itself, and so that's how you go about stealing clients. Is just becoming good at what you do and having people understand that, and
I like
you take the calls from there.
Well, I won't say anything public. Okay. A follow-up to that. A follow-up, Mr. President?
Yeah, sure.
Should they submit the same demo, or should they tweak it a little something?
I mean, quite, especially if they're resubmitting in a year, I'm not going to remember it. So as long as, if there was something there I liked and there's, if it's still current with what's going on, that's fine to resubmit the same demo, I think.
But you figure in a year, you would probably
You'd like to think
have a
maybe
different
you've done
demo.
a job.
I've
or
had
two
the
that
same
you can
demo for
put in.
10 years. 10 years. I'm actually making you a new demo right now because I thought
exciting.
Maybe that'll do it. Okay, we're close to wrapping this up here. You having a good time?
I'm having a blast.
Do you need another margarita?
I'm doing fine.
Thank God, because she left. Margarita's gone. She
So
got.
I don't get to go home.
Oh no, she got her
man.
stipend and then she takes off. Okay, now this is more for me because I had an experience with some casting in the last couple weeks, and I'm going to share some of the experiences with you and get your opinion on it.
Yeah.
But this is more of just a rant from the voiceover doctor.
Okay.
How do you tell people to slate? Do you care how they slate?
I mean, usually I'll tell people slate their name and go.
Just the name.
Because
Don't go, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Bill Holmes. Thank you."
No,
Right?
that does
You
not
don't-
work
That
well.
doesn't really do much to
we'll
get you a job.
And every once in a while, if somebody will do that, I mean, we'll get something from me. Might
Yeah.
be like, tell them just to slate.
Just the name.
And that's what we do. But every
So-
once in a while, something slips through.
Say your name.
Say your name.
Just
Move
your
on.
name.
You're not auditioning in the slate.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Did I mention I listened to 1,000 auditions?
Well, again,
Okay.
that's but the one thing that's nice about something like that and what we're talking about, and which is why you've done so well over the years, is that I think it's important, and not everybody has that understanding, and how can they? But think about what the other side's thinking. Think about
Right.
what the other side's going through, and what you would want it, and how you would want to go about the process. Every once in a while, I'll be like, again, people do that slate a lot of times because they think, hey, this will differentiate me, and quite frankly, it usually only does so in a
kind of
negative
makes
way.
you stick out like a sore
Exactly.
thumb. Really, yeah. I well, I probably shouldn't go through the examples. I mean, there was one person that put music before his Bob Smith.
See, I get a little upset just thinking about something like that.
I know, and I was like, I don't want to listen to your audition.
No.
Yeah, I'm not even crazy about
Right.
you now.
Even if this is the best audition ever, I'm going to delete it.
Yeah.
Because you've already annoyed me.
There you go.
See,
There
what
you go.
happens.
Thank you for saying it. No, he's the bad guy.
I'm the
okay? Now,
Is this network? Can I say that on TV?
yeah. Oh yeah. This you can
Oh,
say
it's all
anything
good?
you want
All right,
here.
good.
Fuck shit. There you go. There we got it out of the way. All right. Home equipment versus your studio. We've kind of touched on this, but
Right.
I just want to put something out there to everybody. If you have your home equipment, and I'm hoping you agree with me on this. Know your equipment.
Yes.
Know how to use it, or hire someone to show you.
Or
What
find
was your
somebody.
guy's name
Brady
again?
Walker. Brady Walker.
Brady Walker. Call Brady Walker. Tell him how to use your equipment. Because I heard so many auditions that sounded like this, or I couldn't hear them, or
Right.
the waveform was like a line.
And that's the thing, is that most of the time they have the equipment there to put together a good read, and they're just...
Right. Just because you have thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Don't be a hero, as they say. Ask for help. It's okay.
Billy, don't be a hero. Come back and make me your wife. Okay. Now, do you recommend people to produce their auditions with music and sound effects?
No.
No. Don't produce your commercial audition. Let the producers do that. Okay, I had to get that off my chest.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for agreeing with me.
Absolutely.
Because if you had said,
it's the best when they
if
do
you had
that.
said, oh yeah, producing, yeah, we tell our clients to do that, I would have on the air gone, I'm sorry, Tom, you're
done.
fired. Yeah. Okay.
It's been real at all.
Okay. So to wrap this up, how much time we got? Were we doing good on time? Oh, there we go. We got a lot of time. All right. To wrap this up, let me sum everything up. Let's sum everything up.
Let's do that.
What's like the number one thing someone can do to get your attention and possibly get signed by you?
It's honestly, it's that same recipe. It's just through a referral of somebody who I respect.
Okay. And just be really good.
And be really good when I get the demo.
Do you think people should be taking classes? What types of classes do you recommend
to me, it's
for people starting out? I'm
Right.
talking.
It's never a bad idea to, and again, it's tough a little bit because I do think there's some classes out there that are worthless and others that obviously that are a lot better. And so it's
couldn't agree with you
I think
more.
it's important to do as much research as you can before you start putting your money into it. And again, some of it is attending these type of workshops, finding out where they are, those type of things, and just starting to get to know people in the business that can at least recommend. A good place. If somebody meets me and goes, "What do you recommend?" I could recommend you. I can recommend a couple different people and say, take a class from this person. They really know what they're doing.
Right.
And rather than waste, $500 on somebody that
Because
has no idea
you
what they're
have
doing.
been very generous with your time, and Tom has been into our margaritas, mojitos, and microphones class.
That's correct.
Have you had a better time at a class ever?
I actually can say that without even thinking.
And they brought a designated driver. He and Jeff brought a designated driver, and they understood the class. But you know what? I got to tell you, people learned so much that night
was a
from
good
you
night.
guys because you guys were pretty loose.
We were
and you
pretty
said,
open with
you
the,
said what was on your mind.
Pretty open with the advice.
And,
yes.
and I mentioned it in Jeff's interview too. It's the reason I came to you guys and wanted to sign with you guys because the things that you said under extreme alcohol consumption actually made sense to me. And the fact that you could
And it's joke around about the event, but there is
Yeah.
something to be said about that, where you kind of say some things that probably you may not. We like to do pride ourselves on the fact that we're usually pretty honest and upfront,
Yeah.
no matter what. But hey, at the same time, a couple of those helps be a little bit more brutally honest sometimes, and that's what's necessary.
like a truth serum in
Exactly.
our
Like
class.
yes, they're reading. You go, what was that?
Yeah. Would you like another margarita, perhaps? And when you come to those classes, they're always served by women in skimpy outfits. That's not true. It's not going to happen.
Not even close.
All right. Well, Tom, I almost called you Jeff. Tom,
Appreciate it. Can I drop you on the spot too? Can we
this
do
is
that?
my fifth. This is your first.
just got here,
I've been
you're
sitting
right.
here drinking all day since 9 o'clock. The kids are at home going, "Daddy, please stop." I'm like, "Leave me alone. I've got to talk to Tom again."
Got an important interview tonight.
I got to be drunk when I talk to that son of a bitch. He's a ginger snap. I don't even know if that's a name for a redhead. Okay, so no, but thank you so much for being on the show.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
This has been fun. And I'm going to buy you a pizza. Don't forget.
That's exciting.
Okay, listen, we're going to plug a little something here, and you might have seen a commercial for it. I don't know. I never know the commercials. We're going to be at the Voice 2012 convention in June 13th through the 16th this year. So if you'd like to come, I, the voiceover doctor, I'm going to be running a panel. And let me tell you who's on the panel. We have Jeff Jones, your counterpart,
Right.
promo agent at VOX. Maurice LaMarche, has committed to it. Rob Paulson. If you don't know those guys, look them up on IMDb. It's Pinky and the Brain. Ike Amati, one of the top promo guys in the country right now. He's the voice of TNT basketball and baseball. Do you represent Ike?
Do not.
Yeah, one got away. Okay. And, we don't really have a commercial agent or anything.
Interesting.
On that.
I know a few, though. I could probably help you
Yeah,
out.
well, you think maybe? Are you busy
I'll
in
have
June?
to check my schedule, of
Check your
course.
schedule?
Yes.
Man, is this guy an agent? I love it. I love this guy. You know why? You're a ginger snake. So we're going to have a booth there at the Voice 2012 convention. Going to have a booth. We're going to be playing darts. I'll be teaching some privates. We're trying to arrange to have some mini margarita nights for you guys down there. It's at the Disneyland Resort Hotel, which is very expensive for me to get a suite, so we might be a mile down the road. Okay, so please sign up for that. Come on, if you're looking at this from around the country, come out to L.A. It's very nice that time of the year, and we'll have a margarita. Okay, well, that's all I've got. Is there anything else you want to say, Tom?
I don't think so. I just appreciate the opportunity to.
I
get
really
this off my
appreciate
chest.
now we become Bob Hope and Johnny Carson here. I really appreciate you giving the time because I know you are
Absolutely.
busy as hell,
Yeah, my
and
pleasure.
you're about to go see a play, right?
I am.
To one of your clients,
Danny
isn't
in the
it?
Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah?
Yes, Juliet Landau.
Oh, Juliet Landau.
Yes, very
now, do you
excited.
represent Juliet
I do.
or her dad? And the dad said, Jeff, Tom, Jeff, whoever the fuck you
How
are.
many times are you going to call me?
I don't
Jeff?
know.
All right, just curious.
Perhaps you should go see my daughter because I've won an Academy Award. God, I feel really embarrassed that I said Jeff now. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching the Voiceover Doctor Show, and have a margarita. Don't take this stuff too seriously, and enjoy life. Thank you very much,
Cheers to
Tom,
that.
for being
Thank
on
you.
the show.
All right, take
Good
care.
night, everybody. Oh, that's good.
You know him, you love him, you want some more of him. The Voiceover Doctor, a real smooth talker. The Voiceover Doctor Show.